swamp. Only Gators get out alive.
Here come the Gators.
The following is a collection of linebacker techniques, drills, and fundamentals that we train our linebackers with here at the University of Florida. We want each drill to simulate an actual game-type situation that our linebackers will encounter in the course of an actual ball game. We want to illustrate different drills that can be used not only during the season with pads on, but also drills that can be utilized in the off-season where you're not allowed to use a ball or put your pads on. When teaching linebacker fundamentals, we start with a thought process with each call. This thought process, after hearing a front and coverage called, is SAAT. This is a thought progression that we want our linebackers to use. It all begins with stance. Stance based on technique and how we want our feet set. Alignment is depth off the ball, your gap responsibility, again, how wide you are if you remove from the box. Assignment, gap responsibility, coverage responsibility, whether it's man or zone. And lastly, technique. What's your run technique on backfield flow? Pass technique, man or zone. And most importantly, eye control. Where are my eyes when the ball is snapped? Beginning with stances, several key things involved with the stance for a linebacker off the line of scrimmage. We want his feet square with his feet underneath his armpits. If you're wider than that, it inhibits your first step and forces you to bucket step or step underneath yourself. We want your chin out in front of your knees. This keeps the weight over the balls of your feet. I want your hands outside the knees. If your hands are inside your knees, you've got to move them before your feet will move. Concentrate your weight on the big toe and the balls of your feet. This is what a linebacker should play on. Do this by bringing your knees slightly inside. Put your heels slightly out. This is what will dynamically make everything the linebacker does in terms of pushing off in one direction or opening his hips and make it easier to do. For a linebacker up in the line of scrimmage, use a heel-to-toe stagger, staggered stance with your gap foot back. The shade may vary on the offensive lineman, whether you're a wider shade or a heavier shade based on the call and your responsibility. Again, keep your hands outside your knees and your chin in front of your knees to keep your weight over the balls of your feet. Your front foot should be at the defensive lineman's up foot. This will get you up into the line of scrimmage, but still give you some cushion with the offensive lineman. A 9 technique stance for a Sam linebacker playing over the tight end is a 45-degree stance with his inside foot on the tight end's outside. Cock slightly inside. Put your feet underneath your armpits. Don't get your feet too wide. Put your heels out again. Chin should still be in front of your knees, and your hands outside and below your knees now. Playing over a down player, we want to have a little lower crouch or a little lower stance, so put your wrist underneath your knees. For a linebacker removed from the box that's in space, the width may vary based on what coverage you're in, whether it's a two-deep concept where you'd be at a midpoint or quarters where you'd be slightly inside the receiver. No more than a heel-toe stagger as you remove. If you get a bigger stagger or turn your shoulders, there's more of an opportunity to get beat inside. Gradually deepen as you widen, so you can go from 5 to 6 to 7 the wider you get from the box. As you remove yourself more, you can come more upright in your stance as well. Another concept to teach is gap responsibility and gap terminology. Don't assume all of your kids know anything. We teach this over and over again. Also, how gaps can change with pulls, with zone concepts, with defenders up front and getting out of their gaps, getting hooked, getting slipped. Your gaps can change. We use the lettering system A, B, C, D, D being the outside gap. Front alignment technique in conjunction with these gap responsibilities. Your linebackers need to know what's in front of them and what gaps responsibility the defensive linemen are responsible for as well. We use the old Alabama numbering system with the even numberings being head-up techniques with inside gap responsibility, like a 2, a 4, and a 6. And then odd numbers, 3, 5, and 9 as outside shade gap responsibilities. The 7 being an inside shade on a tight end, and an 8 being a space technique, one man outside where a tight end would line up, and a 0 being a head-up nose technique. For the linebackers, we just add a 0 to these technique numbering system to get our linebacker alignment and linebacker technique alignment system. A 90, a 70, a 50. We actually have a 40, a 30, and 10 linebackers. Another key concept for us at Florida is teaching Florida run flow backfield definitions. Whether we begin with backfield flow or we progress from an offensive line key to backfield flow, we must define all forms of backfield flow. The first one we begin with is full flow. Full flow is both backs in the same direction, or one of these backs, whether it's a fullback or tailback, can be a cutback player. Here we ask our linebackers to read the shoulders, square of the running back, and if they can read the numbers, then there is a full flow play. It's a play that the back could cut back on. We take every play known to man that you can run on offense and put it into one of these 4 categories. For a full flow play, it would be like a sprint draw, a power, an inside zone play, the fullback belly. All of these are cutback running plays with the shoulders square and the offensive player's numbers to where you could read them. The next category is fast flow. This is both backs in the same direction. Now, there's no cutback involved. You can't read the shoulders or the numbers on the running back. Both backs are fast or outside. These are perimeter runs. Toss sweep, lead option, stretch play. Runs with no cutback player. The third category is counterflow. Counterflow is both backs starting in one direction with one going opposite and coming back in the different direction. These are counter run plays. Split flow is the last category, the fourth category. This is just simply where backs divide, like a divide or a split zone play. Also split zone boots. Split lead, divide draw, the old veer double dive. These are all split flow plays. And we think it's important that as they come off the sideline, your linebackers can communicate what backfield flow they saw as they progressed with their key progression. Florida linebacker pass responsibility backfield definitions is another key fundamental that we begin to teach when we school our linebackers. Florida is a pattern match defensive coverage team in zone coverage. We match routes and progression of releases with 1 through 5 eligible receivers. As you drop over your progression or the final progression based on the release of the receiver. We want to stay out of no cover zone when we are in a zone coverage. This is from the line of scrimmage to 5 yards deep, what we consider the no cover zone. Receiver width numbering is a system where we drop over our final progression. We must sort out this progression and end up on a final number after these receivers take their releases. We emphasize the term final three or final four based on this progression sort of two-back and one-back offenses. With two backs, we can get four players to one side, as we define as full flow. This is 4x1. With a one-back set, you can get this in any kind of trip set where they can get 4x1. Different ways they can number their receivers, always starting with the passing strength 1, 2, 3, 4, and the weakest receiver being defined as 1 weak. Two-back flow definitions. Flow is a 4x1 split with two backs. Flood or web is a 2x3 weak action with the backs, where two receivers are still strong and three receivers are weak. Split flow, where the backs divide and you end up with a 3x2 split. One-back formation and personnel groups do the same thing. Flow is still 4x1. So with any 3x1 formation, if the back steps strong, that will be a 4x1 split. Flood being the 2x3, or web being the 2x3 split, is where two receivers to passing strength and three weak. Split flow with 2x2 formations or 3x1 formations now, where you end up with a three receivers strong and two receivers weak. For our linebackers, the X and O part is very important and very critical to our success. But the linebacker mentality here at Florida is equally as important. We have a creed that we read to our linebackers every 2-a-days that begins with this: to be a Florida linebacker. To play linebacker at the University of Florida, you must possess several characteristics. First, a Florida linebacker is unselfish and always puts the team in front of everything personal. A Florida linebacker has great work ethic and will run till he drops to get the job done. Part of this work ethic is discipline. Discipline is making yourself do the right thing even when you don't want to. This discipline is doing the right thing on and off the field. This is even when no one is watching you or others around you are doing wrong. A Florida linebacker must possess toughness, mental and physical toughness. Football's a tough game played by tough people. We got to practice being tough mentally and physically every day. We want our linebackers to stand for what's great in college football. Our linebackers will be people that others can count on and trust, even when things are not going the way we want them to. This is what it takes to be a Florida linebacker. The following are drills divided into 4 basic categories: footwork and agility drills, block defend drills, tackling drills, and pass defend drills. We try to do at least one drill from each of these categories every day during our individual period. And this time can vary from 5 to 15 to 20 minutes during the season. The first agility and footwork drill is our bag series. This is mostly an off-season, non-padded drill that we use to work on footwork, change of direction, and explosion. Most of our drills are emphasizing and improving our linebackers' ability to bend at the knees and ankles. This is an emphasis of playing with good low pad level. We start with 1 foot in each hole, then 2 feet in each hole, emphasizing fluid arm action in line with your body. Our linebackers are taught that your hands control your feet. After these first 2 drills, we work laterally to lead step and not cross over. Another very key part of all our drills is the finish. We want the finish. Each drill with an explosive burst. This simulates going to finish a play, to explode to go make a tackle, to burst to go get a ball carrier. This is a habit. Next, we work on change of direction. Try to add different commands of COD the more tired our linebackers get. This makes them think when they're tired. Shuffle box is a drill working on a linebacker shuffle fundamentals. Low pad level and different reactions to flow. We ask our linebackers to shuffle and press straight up the field and again finish with an explosive burst. Also, we have our linebackers bend at the knees and ankles as they finish to simulate getting underneath a blocker or ball carrier. We add to this with the next drill is a shuffle and press up the field at 45 degrees. This simulates a perimeter run play. Again, emphasizing a burst finish and bending at the knees and ankles. After this, we go to a change of direction drills. This simulates a counter or a cutback running play. We establish a drive foot in a good footwork shuffle and redirect in a burst, and again end with a bent knee finish. Shuffle and burst is another shuffle fundamental drill, emphasizing essentially the same pad level fundamentals and forcing the linebackers to keep a level base with his feet square, then attacking the line of scrimmage at different angles. Shuffle and burst on command. As in all drills, finish with an explosive move. Burst. Finish the drill. Just like you finish a play. First step progression is a one-step mirror angle drill that works on linebackers on a small 4 to 6 inch first step. This can be in conjunction with primary line or primary backfield keys. We try to start our key progression with whoever can give us our best first step. This is another great opportunity to work on perfect linebacker stances. Emphasize pushing off the opposite ball of your foot in the direction you're going in. After working first steps, progress to a shuffle press mode. Press the line of scrimmage and keep your away foot back slightly to keep your hips open. This is for cutback situations where the cutback linebacker must keep leverage on the ball carrier. Keep your shoulders square, chin in front of your knees, and again, outside foot slightly back, toe to heel. Mirror the angle of your primary key, but always take a very small 4 to 6 inch first step. Never cross over on your first 2 steps. Mirror and keep your base. This is a good fundamental drill that doesn't take very much time. Because of today's rules, where O-linemen are allowed to use their hands within the framework of a defender's body, hand placement and hand power becomes an even more critical fundamental. To illustrate how to maximize the most power and strength from your hands and arms and shoulders, have a defender hold his hands straight out with his thumbs down and resist another player pushing down on his arms. Repeat this action, but have the defender roll his thumbs up into the air. This brings his lats or back muscles into play and gives the defender added strength. This illustrates a very key fundamental in block defend concepts. Strike with low pad level and strike with your thumbs up. Another key principle in block defend fundamentals is gaining control of an offensive player with your hands inside the blockers. Whoever gets his hands inside wins. Illustrate this by fitting up 2 defenders and having one of his hands inside and the other one on his hands outside. Because it's so critical to have your hands inside, we use boxing target pads to teach hand fits. The tendency when using a larger bag is to have your hands wider. To ensure tight, close hands inside, we use a small boxing target to get our linebackers to strike with the heels of their hands and keep their wrists close together. This is a fundamental we really try and make a habit, so it's very natural when we go up against an offensive blocker. To generate as much power as you can, you should always strike with the heels of your hands, step and initiate power with the near leg. To practice this motion, move to random sides and force the defender to focus and step with the proper leg. Again, strike with the heels of your hands with your thumbs up. To incorporate a shuffle fundamental in this drill, focus and shuffle with the bag and strike with the heels of your hands on the bag. Emphasize eye control to the bag and use your power angles, your knees and ankles bent, to generate as much thrust as you possibly can. This is a hand fit drill you can do with or without pads. It works on getting hand placement inside position on your opponent. Both players take a good bent knee linebacker position and take turns working for inside leverage control position. They should keep a solid base as they shuffle and stay square. Need to keep their heads out of this drill. This is a very good hand placement drill. And again, one you can do with or with pads. Gain control. Without pads, work to gain your hands to the pecs, upper pecs of the opponent. This drill works on hand placement and near leg power and thrust. The linebacker takes a square linebacker stance and reacts to movement and direction on which way to step and strike. This sled is on hinges and will extend upward as you get underneath of it with power. In all hand fit drills, keep your linebackers from flying or cocking their hands. This allows the offender to get his hands inside. It's got to be one fluid motion from your hips. They got to shoot their hands to the side to where in their normal stance. Kneeling eyes and hands. This is a great hand placement drill for teaching hip action with hand placement. In this kneeling hand fit drill, linebackers kneel and dig their toes in the ground. Their hands should be at their sides, and as the blocker comes off and fits the linebacker, he shoots his hands up into his pads and shoots his hips up into the blocker. It really teaches the linebackers how to shoot their hips and fit their hands in one fluid motion. The defender must dig his toes in. That's what he's going to drive off of. Board drills are the best way to teach a player to come off the ball and keep a wide base. It's a toughness drill, a one-on-one drill that starts with movement of the offensive player. It works all the fundamentals. Pad level, the man who's lowest wins, hand placement, hands inside, hip thrust, quickness in the first step, Emphasizing keeping a wide base as you strike your opponent and maintaining this base. It really teaches the importance of pad level as well. Again, the low man that gets off first usually wins. Mask-to-mask, hand replacement, lockout, and leverage. This is another hand placement progression drill. Position two players mask-to-mask in a good bent knee linebacker position. One side fits their hands on the blocker, then locks out and extends their hands to separate from the blocker as you still maintain control. Emphasize hip thrust and hand placement and teaches separation. The next progression is to leverage to a side after hand placement and lock out. Learning to leverage by locking out at the leverage side arm and locking it out to work your hips into it as you leverage. cut and pull is a disadvantage drill that simulates a down block on a linebacker. Somewhere in the course of a game, linebacker's going to get down blocked, particularly the inside linebackers. This is a flow reaction drill. You step with the flow, the back, and fit the down block with your hands and mask inside. Stop the blocker's momentum and pull across his face to get over the top. You got to emphasize pad level and fitting your hands inside the blocker to get control. Near leg power is essential here too. Low block, fit and feel. This is a drill that works on a linebacker's ability to bend his knees and ankles. You must have eye control on the blocker also. This is with or without pads, and you can get your players used to really being in this low bent knee cut block position. If a player really gets used to being in this low actual cut block position, it'll be much easier to play. We want the linebacker to start up and bend down to fit the block by bending his knees and ankles and trying to involve his mask, stopping the offensive player's momentum and charge. We have the linebackers hold this position to feel what it's really like to be that low. And then on command, have the linebackers release, work upfield, and eventually make a tackle. Try to keep your shoulders square as you bend and keep your outside foot slightly back as you fit the cut block. Cut ball and tackle. This is another drill to work the fundamentals of playing a low block using a smaller or larger weighted ball. Position your linebackers on the line of scrimmage. And from about 4 to 5 yards off, throw the ball at their feet to make the linebacker bend and stop the ball. Then work upfield to execute an angled near leg tackle. Run your feet till you hear a whistle. Make your linebackers bend only at the knees and ankles and stop the weighted ball by striking it with the heels of your hands in good form with their thumbs up and hands in tight. The first step key drill is a drill you can get a lot done even in the off season without pads. Flow key or line key to get the best first step. Linebackers work on the different types of flow, full, fast, counter, and divide. Set up a full backfield and work all variables of run and play action. Make the linebackers key progress and transfer their eyes from flow to flow side block scheme and see tight ends cross or wide receivers cross based on the flow of the backfield. Work every combination in all of the 4 categories: direct runs, perimeter runs, split flow runs, counter runs. Important coaching point is to always include a quarterback. If you leave the quarterback out of the drill, a lot of times they'll just look at the quarterback once he is included in real games. Using this key drill with primary line keys, cover all the schemes and get your best first step from a guard or an uncovered tackle. Include all those variables: zone schemes, G schemes, backside guard, traps, influence traps, veer traps. The angled near leg tackle is our primary tackling drill for teaching tackling progression. We teach the tight fit of the mask across the biggest part of the body and try to extend our near leg into the ball carrier. This generates the most power to explode into the ball carrier. On contact, we want to club our arms upward and grab cloth. Run your feet till you run through the ball carrier and hear a whistle. The tackler must thrust his hips and come out of his legs to really generate the most possible power for knocking a ball carrier back. Score tackle is another close quarter tackling drill where we have maximum speed and explosion with minimal risk. We get to use our near leg power and still not worry about a lot of open field risk of injury. Start this by servicing ourselves, that is linebacker versus linebackers. To really accelerate the competitiveness of the drill, do this versus your running backs or DBs versus wide receivers, tight ends, fullbacks versus DNs or tackles. Start the backers at the edge of a flat bag and try to get your near leg down for maximum power. Emphasize hips, arms, fit, and finish the tackle. Always use a whistle so we know when the play's over. In this drill, establish the lane that the running backs can run in, about a yard on either side of this flat bag. Always know where the goal line is. This forces your linebacker to beat the ball carrier to the punch, get his near leg on the ground, extend his hips, club his arms, run his feet. Some people call this a goal line tackle. Sideline tackle drill is another competitive open field tackle drill versus running backs. This works on plane and space. We want the tackler to sprint and gather at the ball carrier, reducing the angle that the ball carrier has to work with. Don't break down 4, 5, 6 yards away from the ball carrier. Emphasis here is to accelerate to the ball carrier and always stay to the inside hip of the running back. Can't get in the head up or outside the ball carrier position. Stay about one man behind the ball carrier. Sprint to reduce the angle, keep your feet alive, and force the ball carrier to the sideline. We want to always take the inside cutaway on a sideline tackle. Sprint and gather. Shed tackle is another combination block, defend, and tackling drill. Position your linebacker in a good balanced two-point stance, head up or shading outside slightly off a blocker. This blocker will zone step to cut off the linebacker. On the linebacker's movement, have your linebacker fit the blocker with near leg power, fit your hands, thumbs up, hands inside, and shed and separate from the blocker. This again teaches pad level and separation. After separating, execute a near leg tackle and run the ball carrier back till you hear a whistle. Open field tackle is a tackling drill set up to have the defender sprint, gather under control with his feet alive or hot, and then break either right or left based on where the running back goes. Put your linebacker about 10 yards from the running back and sprint 5 yards to a marker. Come under control. Vision should be between the offensive player's numbers. Be able to work laterally upfield in either direction. You should have about a yard to a yard and a half cushion after you're under control to give him enough room to react and execute this near leg tackle on the running back. Emphasize all the fundamentals of your angle tackle. Near leg on the ground, head across in front with the biggest part of the ball carrier, tight fit with the eyes to the V of the neck and chest of the ball carrier. Extend your near leg and club your arms upward, grabbing cloth, and then run this ball carrier back till you hear a whistle. Always use a whistle in your drill so players know when the play is over. Keep your feet alive. Pass defend drills. With pass defend drills, one of the most fundamental starting places is the difference in eye control between a zone concept and a man concept. In zone concepts, we want to see the quarterback's arm action and break on this long arm action. This is after seeing and sorting out our route progression that we talked about earlier in the drill tape. In man, it's very simple. Get your eyes on your man and close to whatever leverage you're supposed to have, inside leverage or outside leverage. The first pass defend drill is the hook shuffle drill. We want all zone defenders that are not flat pass defenders to execute a hook shuffle. This allows the linebacker to maintain his base for change of direction. He can now react to balls thrown in front of him better and react to the draw. By keeping your base, you've already established a drive foot to push off of. With 5 yards of depth on a normal alignment, we're only going to have to shuffle about 5 or 6 more yards to get the depth of 10 to 12 yards. To progress with this drill, it's the same drill we just did, except now we're going to add another dimension to it, and that's with the quarterback pulling the ball down to simulate a draw action. Again, force the linebackers to shuffle and not cross over till they get long arm action to break on the football. Make them look at where the lead shoulder's pointing and the break on the long arm action. Make them read, pass or run. One of the hardest concepts to teach is play action discipline and picking up crossers on play action or boots. We feel that fundamentally our linebackers must transfer their eyes from their primary key to the flow side block scheme. In this drill, which is a zone run / zone boot drill, you get to work on a couple of fundamentals. First, the zone slip with an O-lineman working up the field immediately tells us it's run, and now the linebacker goes to squeeze and leverage the blocker back in the line of scrimmage. Don't have your linebacker cross his face, just fit his gap and control his gap. If no lineman works upfield, then transfer your eyes to the crosser. Here's where we use the term robot the crosser. This is to man turn and post the crossing receiver, whether it's a tight end or a wide receiver. Make this receiver go over the top of us and now match this route. Your zone drop becomes a man technique because of the play action or boot. You also get to work these squeeze fundamentals like they're slipping a down lineman. When you squeeze, fit your hands inside, locking out your inside arm, and press the blocker back into the gap. Another great group drill for teaching play action and boot is what we call our force drill. We do this every Monday, and we match up all first and second down boots and play actions with our base coverages. This again emphasizes transferring your eyes from primary keys to flow side block scheme. We align our linebackers and a complete secondary for this drill. Script in the most frequent first and second down play action and boots. You can also include linemen for line keys as well. Make your linebackers step with their keys so you don't just play the drill. Make them take the play, the run fakes. This makes this a more realistic drill. Here we work the same robot techniques and fundamentals, and most importantly, eye control and eye transfer. This is a non-contact teaching tempo drill. place techniques. There's a lot of people using zone dogs and zone pressures where a D lineman will now be in coverage, because we don't want to spend a whole lot of time teaching DNs to drop and drop fundamentals. We simplify this and teach essentially a hot flat concept versus an OT or a tight end. We want a normal crash, wide 5 alignment versus an offensive tackle. The defensive end must run first, then work to his inside number drop landmark at 10 yards. Versus a tight end, align as a 6 technique, but work to a D-gap 9 technique. Give the DN both run and pass reads versus a tight end and an offensive tackle. The defensive end versus tight end still plays run first, then reacts to pass releases. A vertical tight end, the defensive end will play outside leverage and take the tight end vertically up the field hot until another receiver crosses his face going to the flat. Eye control on his low shoulder versus a vertical tight end is critical. Keep your eyes inside to see any potential flat receiver.